Technical foul. Yeah.
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Teed Up. I'm David.
I'm Justin.
As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Hope everyone's doing well. Day by day, getting closer and closer to the NBA's return. Justin,
Yep.
I know you're hyped. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hyped. We
Definitely.
pretty much say that every episode that we're hyped. So, it's
Mhm.
nothing new. So, before we get into anything basketball related, we did want to tell you, our YouTube channel hit 100 subscribers. And we're pretty excited about that. And in the YouTube
big
world,
100.
big 100, yep. It's a big
Will
milestone
Chamberlain.
for absolutely. Will Chamberlain. Shout out to Will Chamberlain. Rest in peace. But yeah, like Justin, in the YouTube world, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. 100 subscribers isn't jack squat, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
But like for us, just starting out, and for all
good.
this, it's amazing. Like I would, it's awesome. Because
Definitely.
that means 100 people. I think now it's at like 120, something like that. But
I think it's 118.
118, something like that. So 118 people roughly are interested in our content and are interested in what we have to say. So that's, Justin, I think I speak for Justin as well when we say, like, we really appreciate all the support, all the the love that we get. We really appreciate it. It means a lot. It makes us want to keep providing content. It makes us, and it just makes us want to, work harder at this show. So we really appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for all the support. We're going to continue to provide content. Eventually, we will do this in person, probably next week, I believe. Definitely, very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. We got interviews lined up with players, so stay tuned for that. And again, thank you guys. I can't stress enough how much we appreciate all the support that we get. Seriously. Justin, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm just the same stuff he said. I mean, it's nice to finally hit 100.
Yeah. Okay, so Justin really doesn't care about you guys. That's pretty much it. No, I'm kidding.
You said everything already. What's there left to say?
I know. All right. Well, don't get snarky with me, Jesus.
No, I'm just saying.
All right. Anyway, a lot of news this week. We went through in the previous episode about the quarantine campus and the bubble and all the stuff, all the fun stuff that they're going to be doing, ping pong tournaments. If you haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. We highly encourage you to check that out. But we just got news officially. We've been talking about these notable free agents that are in the market that some teams are front runners to sign, such as the Lakers. I believe the Sixers were in the conversation. A couple teams were in that conversation, but it just got confirmed that the Lakers signed J.R. Smith. We pretty much knew. I mean, everyone pretty much assumed J.R. was going to go to the Lakers. I mean, Justin, I don't know, but he officially signed with the Lakers. I'm not sure how many years, how much money exactly. If anybody knows that, comment below. I don't know if Justin, do you know how much?
No, it's not reported yet. It's just that they came to terms on a deal.
Probably by the time that this episode's uploaded, we'll know how much money it is. Honestly, when we were recording the previous episode, that was when the news broke about J.R. Smith. So, news could change, 2 days from now. Maybe J.R. Smith opts out. Maybe he just says, "I don't want to play for the Lakers. I'm coming."
I highly doubt that.
I highly doubt that. But So, Justin, what do you think about this move that the Lakers did, signing J.R.?
I mean, given what happened to them and losing Avery Bradley, it's a solid pickup. I mean, it's good, but it's nothing special. I think that's where fans are wrong here. People are acting like J.R. Smith's about to be the third star on this team. He's about to be complete the big three with AD and LeBron. No, J.R. Smith is I believe he's 35, 36 now. Hasn't played in the NBA in almost 2 years. This dude's a scrub. He's a solid 3-and-D player, but I mean, he is nothing special. He's a guy that hasn't been in the NBA in 2 years, right? How are you expecting him to come and contribute in playoff games, high-quality minutes, when he hasn't played a game in 2 years? He is a role player that will be playing 12 to 15 minutes a night at most, who will probably take 3 3-pointers, maybe up to 5 a game. And when he'll probably play some defense, but I mean, he's certainly not starting like people seem to envision him starting. I mean, it'll be KCP or Alex Caruso. He'll be up there, maybe third in line there. But I mean, he's just not that good anymore. He's kind of overrated, but I mean, it's a good pickup because they needed more depth after losing Avery Bradley. Like, he can fill the offensive end of Avery Bradley, but he certainly doesn't come close to filling the defensive hole that Avery Bradley leaves.
I don't know. I think it was a pretty good pickup for the Lakers. I think he can really contribute for this Lakers team. Last time he played, he averaged 7 points a game. 2 rebounds, 2 assists. That's
2 years ago.
I know, but actually, no, it was a year ago. It was in 2018, 2019. I'm giving you the stats from that year.
It was the first month of the 2018-2019 season. It's been 612 days to today since J.R. Smith has played.
Right,
so, it's basically 2 years.
Right, but still, I still think he can contribute a lot. I'm sure he's been putting work in. He's been on the market for a while, so I'm sure he's been staying in shape. He's been practicing. He's been putting work in the gym because he might have gotten a call saying, "Hey, we want J.R. Smith." So I'm sure
they did. They called him back at the trade deadline and said they were interested in signing him before then, but they felt that he wasn't good enough to sign then, so they went out and traded for Dion Waiters or signed Dion Waiters. I forget what happened there, but they got Dion Waiters instead. So, people forget that Dion Waiters on the Lakers. He's another guy that's going to be fighting J.R. Smith for minutes here. That's Alex Caruso, KCP, and Dion Waiters all fighting for the same minutes that Avery Bradley is playing, and you're signing J.R. Smith. At most, they're all going to be getting 10 minutes a game. Like, it just doesn't fit out. J.R. Smith isn't going to be a valuable piece here. It's kind of going to be like a committee to fill in Avery Bradley's role. It's not going to be a one-man show here.
Well, it's funny you bring up Dion Waiters. Like, he's not the player that he used to be. In Miami, he was doing very well. He was doing that well that one year that the Lakers went, or that the Heat went, were like fighting for a playoff spot in 2016. But he's not the same player that he used to be, and he's that good.
He's 28 years old.
Yeah, but he's not that good.
He's very good. He's very good. He's a very good player. He just got upset. He got upset in Miami because the younger players were filling in for him.
But he was successful in Miami.
Pushed back. Not towards the end. He was successful in Miami till the end there, where he kind of got kicked out there, and he got the issues with gummies on the plane and all that other stuff. He was very successful early on in Miami, and then younger guys here, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, kind of came in and started taking his role, and he kind of struggled with dealing on kind of sharing the role there. He struggled with that. He wasn't a great leader, and I think him joining the Lakers and LeBron will really turn him around. I think he is a much better player than J.R. Smith is, and I think he'd be much more valuable to that Lakers team. You get Alex Caruso in there. He's a solid player, not great, but he's solid. He can put up.
But I think J.R. Smith is above all of them. A
35-year-old J.R. Smith.
Absolutely.
He hasn't played basketball 2 years. How can you say
it doesn't matter if he's 21 or 35?
What's to say LeBron trusts him?
How do LeBron does trust him?
After what happened in the finals?
That was one time, one play.
I don't know if LeBron's over that. You can't tell me LeBron's certainly over that.
I'm sure LeBron's over that. He's a big boy.
I don't know about that. J.R. Smith is not that. People are acting like you. You're acting like he's going to come in and be the third start of this team.
No, I'm not saying that. I just think he's going to be a very solid
role player. At best, he's a decent role player. But other than that, he's nothing more than that. He can't play the good defense. He can only play it when he wants to, and that was 2 years ago. He's now 35 years old. He's certainly not the same player.
But now he's getting this opportunity to go on another finals run with the King, with Mr. Fine Wine himself, LeBron James, and he can go off. And I think he's been putting the work in, and I think he's ready. And I think he knows maybe.
You don't even know. You're just making assumptions.
I'm just giving you my opinion.
You don't know.
But I'm giving you my opinion. This is what I think will happen. I think J.R. Smith will go in there. He'll probably average, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He'll be a good role player.
That's more than what he averages last season in the NBA. You think he's going to be averaging more than that?
I think so. I think he'll get more touches in LA.
There's a better team in LA on a better team than what his most recent stint was. He was getting a lot of touches there because the team stunk. That's why he was getting touches.
But I think he'll get more touches because he'll play off the ball.
He won't be getting touches though. But you got to remember, they have other players there that can contribute the same exact. J.R. Smith is a 3-and-D player with the emphasis on 3 rather than the D part.
Right, but
he's a very good shooter. He's a streaky shooter. So when he's hot, he's on. I could see him coming in for a game.
But here's something:
maybe 18 points one game in a series if he gets hot from 3. But outside of that, he's not performing that well. He's not going to put up good numbers the whole time.
But here's something you don't realize: the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers franchise. You were talking about KCP. I don't think the Lakers franchise trusts KCP. And the Lakers fans especially don't trust KCP. The Lakers fans hate Kentavious Caldwell-Pope with a passion.
Just like they hate Avery Bradley. They hate on everyone that's not LeBron James or Anthony Davis.
That's not true.
That is so true.
That's not true.
That is so true.
That's not true.
Lakers fans.
They support Danny Green. Shout out to Danny Green. They support Caruso. They support.
Oh, I forgot to mention Danny Green. Danny Green's out there too. So how many people are going to compete for that 2 guard?
But he starts.
Exactly. It's a 2-3. He starts there, but who's going to fill the other role there? Like, there's all these guys that
J.R.
are
Smith.
going to be. It's not going to be J.R. Smith. No way J.R. Smith.
Why wouldn't it be J.R. Smith?
He hasn't played in the NBA in 2 years. How is he going to start? So you don't just come in and start in the NBA at the highest level.
Jamal Crawford hasn't played in a year, and you want the Sixers to sign him
as a role player at best off the bench to provide a scoring spark,
which is what J.R. Smith is going to do.
They don't need that. What they need is defensive presence to fill in for every breath. You realize the Lakers were ranked second since the trade deadline in defensive stats. They were the second best defensive team in basketball. Why? Because of Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley was the main reason out on that perimeter defense, shutting people down. They had JaVale McGee and AD in the inside, but now on the perimeter they got absolutely no one to guard him. Danny Green's solid, but he's not a great on-ball defender. He's more of an off-ball defender who can guard on-ball. KCP is not great at defense. Alex Caruso certainly can't play any defense. LeBron can't play on the perimeter too well because all those short guards get by him pretty quick. I mean, it's tough, but
he averages
Smith fitting well.
I mean, the last time he played, he averaged a steal a game. I mean, that's pretty solid. He's got the solid defensive stats.
2 years ago,
he's got he averages 2 defensive rebounds a game, which for a guard is decent. That's decent.
That's not good at all for a shooting guard, small forward. 2 rebounds a game is terrible.
I would say he's a shooting guard. I wouldn't go as far to say he's a small forward.
Okay, but I literally talked about guys that average when the Klay Thompson episode, all these other shooting guards that average at least 3 rebounds per game. 2 defensive rebounds is not very good at all.
Well, he's a perimeter player. He's not going to be down there on the inside grabbing boards.
He's not the right fit for this team. He's not the right guy to come in and lead. They need a good defensive presence.
But at the time, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Because he's better than Avery Bradley. But he's not better than Avery Bradley, but he's good enough to fill in for him at some point. But he certainly isn't Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley is 10 times better than J.R. Smith at this point in J.R. Smith's career. If we're talking J.R. Smith from 2010, this is a whole different story.
I don't think anybody disagrees with you.
2020 J.R. Smith.
I don't think anybody disagrees that Avery.
Disagree with me 100%.
I certainly don't think J.R. Smith is better than Avery Bradley. I think Avery Bradley is way better than J.R. Smith. But desperate times call for desperate measures. And J.R. Smith was one of the best free agents on the market as of late. And I think this is a good signing.
He's not one of the best free agents on the market. We haven't even seen what he can do. There's a reason they put it this way. They picked a guy in Dion Waiters at the trade deadline over J.R. Smith. And Dion Waiters hadn't played basketball all year. Dion Waiters had off-field issues, unlike J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith doesn't really have too many, at least most recently. He hasn't had too many. So, they took a guy in Dion Waiters over J.R. Smith at the trade deadline. What makes you think when they come back here, they're going to take J.R. Smith over Dion Waiters to start?
I think they will. And Dion Waiters really hasn't been producing much. Because Dion Waiters hasn't been producing that much over with the Lakers. And we're talking about months and months ago too. It's kind of irrelevant to argue about, something that happened a couple months ago.
It happened at the trade deadline right before this all ended.
Right, which was a couple months ago.
But they clearly like Dion Waiters better than J.R. Smith because they went and got Dion Waiters.
At the time, and I'm sure they were super interested in J.R. Smith, and I'm sure they said, well, now that Avery Bradley
clearly they saw something that makes Dion Waiters better.
Maybe at the time, maybe because he was actually active in the league, but that's not to say that. But J.R. Smith, you can't deny that he's been putting in work, and he realizes, okay, I'm on the Lakers, they're a contender. I'm probably going to get decent minutes with this team. I'm probably going to be the third guy off the bench. Let me put in some work. Some team is going to want to sign me. Let me put in some work, and I'm sure that's exactly what J.R. Smith has been doing. And especially playing with LeBron,
I would not say he's third.
But wouldn't you think he wants to
be fifth at best?
Wouldn't you think he wants to forget help LeBron? You know what I mean? After what he did in 2018, don't you think he would want to show LeBron, hey, I'm still good, and I'm not going to make these stupid decisions like I did in 2018 in Game 1?
Yeah, obviously he doesn't want to, but what's going to stop him from doing it? He didn't want to do it the first time either. He didn't try to do it the first time.
But
He messed up.
I don't
How is
think
it
he's
not going
going
to
to want
happen?
to
You don't
do
know
it.
what's going to happen again.
I
Yeah,
don't think he's going to want
he
to
doesn't
do it.
have control over it. He didn't choose to do it. He didn't do it on purpose. If he did it on purpose, then that's a totally different story. But he didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident that he did it the first time, and accidents can happen again. Accidents can happen at any time.
No, but I think he's going to be more aware of off ball. He's going to be aware of the clock. He's going to be aware of what's happening on the court. And I don't think he was really in Cleveland. I think more of his play style in Cleveland was just shoot the ball. Shoot the ball.
Exactly. That's because at his age anymore, that's what he does. As a aging veteran like that, that's what he does. That's his role. He's a 3-and-D player with the emphasis on the three. Like that's his role. He's a 3-point shooter. He's not supposed to be doing anymore. And he'll do that for the Lakers. He'll put up 3 to 5 threes a game. He'll get his 6 points per game and move on. He's not going to do much more. He's not going to provide you defensive help. He's not going to provide any of that.
Nobody's disagreeing with you.
You are. You just disagree with me saying he's going to contribute well.
I think he will.
You told me he's going to be putting up over 10 points per game.
I said about 10 points a game. I didn't say over 10 points a game.
I just said 6 at most.
I would say anywhere from 8 to
clearly you're disagreeing with me.
Anywhere from 8 to 10. But I don't think. I think you're. I agree that he's going to be a role player. Obviously, he's not going to be like the process completer, if you will, for the Lakers. But I think he will be a solid role player, and he will contribute to this Lakers team coming off the bench. I don't think he's better than Danny Green. I don't think he's better than Avery Bradley. But I think signing him is a great move because you now get a shooter, you get a decent defender, probably for a low price.
I'd take KCP over him any day of the week at this point. With the Lakers' needs, if you're putting a shooting guard out there, I'm taking KCP because who's going to guard the point guard? J.R. Smith certainly cannot guard Damian Lillard. He can't guard Ja Morant. He can't guard Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday. He's not guarding any of those guys. Who's going to guard him? J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith can't.
He could hold his own.
He could not. He would get. You think J.R. Smith at 35 years old can be guarding any of those guys
against like Lonzo Ball? Maybe not like Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, but
Okay, well then who are you going to put on him? I'll put KCP on him. KCP's got those lengthy arms. He's very aggressive like that. That's his style.
So then you could put him in the lineup. You could have
I'm telling you, the
Caruso
should be.
But you could have Caruso at the I'm not your starting lineup, but I'm saying when you need a defensive lineup, you could have Caruso at the 1, you could have JR at the 2, KCP at the 3, Bron at the 4, and whoever at the 5. That could be a good defensive lineup when they need defense.
What? No.
Yeah, it could.
It's not that. No. It's not really that good. It doesn't help them out.
Obviously, it's not the best. I mean, we're not talking about it like having like Pippen and Rodman in the lineup, but it's a decent defensive lineup.
No, they're going to struggle mightily on the defensive end, and that's because of Avery Bradley not playing. I feel bad for the Lakers because he's not playing, but I respect what Avery Bradley is doing at the same time. So it's tough. But J.R. Smith is certainly not the answer on the defensive end. He may be able to provide the points he was scoring because let's be honest, Avery Bradley wasn't hitting too many threes in the first place. But you know what? The Lakers, how many times they beat the Clippers this year, do you know?
Well, they only played once, correct?
They played 3 times.
They played 3 times? One of the games got canceled.
I'm pretty sure they played 3 times.
I don't know. We can look it up. I think they might have played twice. I don't know.
No, they played 3 times.
They played 3 times? Okay. I'm sorry. Well, they played.
Clippers won 2 of them. Lakers won 1.
Okay,
Lakers only won 1.
All right, but it's a whole different.
Do you know why they won the one game they won?
Why?
They won 1 game, and you know what that was? Avery Bradley. He scored 24 points that game, more than he scored in the other 2 games, and he had 16 points in the third quarter. 4 of them were off 3-pointers. Meanwhile, LeBron James had 0 points that third quarter. It was all Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley carried that team to that win that game. If it weren't for his 16 points in the third quarter, they would have lost the game, and they'd be 0-3 against the Clippers this year.
What's your point?
Avery Bradley was a valuable piece. J.R. Smith's not doing that. He's not putting up points on the defensive end and dropping 25 points per game or 25 points in a game.
Yeah, but he'll be good enough.
He's not good enough. He can't do that.
Good enough.
You're expecting this guy who hasn't played basketball in 2 years to be good enough. No way.
I mean, look, we're gonna see literally. We're gonna see literally in what's today. Today, the day that we're recording this is July 1st, and we're going to
Like
see it in
3 weeks.
3 weeks because the Lakers and the Clippers do play. They play the first games of the season, so we'll see. I personally think J.R. Smith is going to have a good impact on the Lakers, and I think he's going to be a solid role player for that team.
No, not at all.
Well, I don't know. We'll let the people decide. Let us know what you think in the comments below. DM us on Instagram at teed_up_pod. Let us know what you think. Or podcast, I'm sorry. Twitter is teed_up_pod. Instagram's teed_up. I don't know. It'll be like right here, like right here somewhere. I don't know. Because Jake usually puts our handles like right in the middle. Shout out to Jake, by the way. Great editor for us. So the next thing we wanted to get into, maybe we talk about the Sixers too much, but that's because we're Sixers fans. Got a problem with it. Nobody's forcing you to watch, but we love talking about the Sixers because, Tobias Harris, Justin, this was a shocker to me. It wasn't really a shocker, but it wasn't, it was a eye opener, I guess, you could say. Tobias Harris went on First Take, and he said the Sixers have had chemistry issues. He was asked about why the Sixers were struggling in the regular season, why they're struggling on the road, and he's basically said there's chemistry issues. So, Justin, what do you think about this? This is our team.
Yeah, and I agree with everything he said. That episode of First Take that he was on was very good. I really enjoyed his segment. That was fun to watch. But yeah, I agree with everything he said, and it makes sense. I kind of expected that. That's kind of been one of my main, criticisms of the Sixers. I feel like they haven't had good chemistry, but there's a reason for that. The Sixers have had 10 new players this year, and only 19 of the games did they have their actual starting lineup. They were hurt. They didn't have a time to fully gel together and get together. They didn't have the chemistry that they needed to win. They lost a bunch of players. They lost Jimmy Butler. They lost J.J. Redick. They lost these guys, and these new guys were coming in, and they just never had the time to gel because they were all hurt. It's tough when you don't have your players. You don't have the time to gel. Kind of like how the Clippers were in the beginning of the year. It's tough when you go bring new guys in and they're hurt and they don't have time to gel. Kind of like the same with the Pelicans. The Pelicans dealt with that. It's just tough. And I think once the Sixers figure that out, they'll be playing much better. And I think down the stretch here before the virus, we saw that the Sixers were performing at a higher level. They were playing better. They were growing. They were getting their chemistry issues fixed. They were learning how to play with each other. They were getting better. So I agree with everything he said. I wasn't really shocked by it. I kind of had a feeling that was the issue because looking at it from afar, you could kind of tell something was off. And when you looked at then how many players were actually playing and who was hurt and how many times they had their starting lineup, then it just all kind of makes sense. So I agree with what he said, and I see where he's coming from. I also liked how he said they've been focusing on group chats together, Zoom calls, other stuff to kind of help their team bonding and stuff. So I'm excited. I think these 8 games will prove a lot with the Sixers team because if they did truly fix their chemistry issues, I think they will be a sleeper team here that could make a deep run.
Yeah, unbiasedly, they're also my dark horse team, as you say. But I wouldn't say I was necessarily shocked, but I was, I guess I thought maybe that could be a possibility. That it had I didn't know that what was the main issue. They need a shooter, things like that. But but I think once Tobias Harris said, "Yeah, we have chemistry issues, and that's kind of why we've been struggling," I'd be like, "Well, yeah, I'm not surprised." You know what I mean? I'm not shocked at that he said that, but when he said that, I was like, "Well, that could be a possibility." But if you remember, last year, Jimmy Butler even said, there were chemistry issues with the coach, with players. Nobody really knew their role, and this was,
I don't think it's that type of chemistry. I think it's more the chemistry of the bonding of the players, new guys coming in, and they just never got a chance to fit. I don't think it was coaching and chemistry that way. I think it was more chemistry amongst the players themselves that were not bonding well together. Just they didn't fit well together and they had to make it work all of a sudden. And I think they never really clicked. And I think if they do click, they will have a chance to go deep. But I don't think it was more so coaching because when they acquired Jimmy Butler the first time, when they acquired Tobias Harris at first last year, they struggled in those games because they never played together before. They didn't know what to expect. And when you just trade for a guy and bring him in, you don't know what to do. It's like they've only had 19 games with each other. They haven't really gotten a chance to gel to each other's style yet. So everything that he said definitely makes sense. It's just I think the players need to bond better together.
Right. And obviously, the text group chats and the Zoom calls are big. And I think once they get back to practicing and, they have these 8 games to kind of get in the swing of things. I think that certainly helps too. Do you think you think it's just, the fact that they haven't played together or the fact that they're just not getting, so it has nothing to do with anything personally in your mind?
I don't think it's anything personal in there. I think
We don't know because, obviously we're not in the locker room, but
I don't think it's personal. I think it's more outside. I think it's more just fit on the court. Their playing styles just don't necessarily fit well together, and they need to work on that to make them fit. They need to some guys need to swallow their pride, and take it for the team and kind of fit into that role. Because, like we said earlier in one of the other shows, that they're going to be a team that would win by committee. It looks like they all need to fit into their roles, and I think some guys right now their roles are too big. Mm-hmm. And other guys are too small. And I think if they need to just figure out their roles and balance it out and deal with that, I think they'd be much better.
That's what Daryl Reynolds said. Shout out to Daryl Reynolds, by the way. If you haven't watched that episode, check it out. He goes into depth about his time at Villanova, winning the 2016 championship, playing under, a legendary coach, Jay Wright. Very good episode. Seriously, the stories that he told, man, like they were great. Like, I mean, weren't they?
Definitely.
I mean, not to get off topic,
really interesting.
But if I could tell you to watch one episode, it would definitely be that one. I mean, I know this is an NBA show, but but just his stories were very, very interesting. But yeah, I think a lot of the guys do have to kind of slow their roll, and I think Al Horford needs to do that too. Al Horford needs to realize, well, I'm not the best player. I'm probably the fourth option on this team as far as scoring goes. Maybe even less than that. And that wasn't how it was in Boston. In Boston, he was probably the third guy, second guy. I think the first would probably be Tatum, Kyrie Irving.
No, it would have been Kyrie, and then second would have been Horford, and third would have been Tatum.
Yeah. So, and then Horford,
maybe by the end there, he was third behind Tatum. But I mean, same thing, second, third.
Yes, but and Al Horford here is probably fourth. Because you have Embiid.
I'd even say fifth. I'd put Jay Rich ahead of him.
I would too. Yeah,
I'd say everyone he's fifth in that starting five. And honestly, by the end there, I'd say Shake was better than him. So I'd say Shake was a higher up option. I'd say he's probably almost sixth.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with Al Horford was just the fact that he would always shoot the ball. He would never be down low. And I think he wasn't that good of a shooter. I mean, I
think that's part of their chemistry issues, though. He's not used to being in this situation, and they never got a chance to gel together to fit. They just never fit well together because they haven't had a chance to play. And I think with time, they'll get together more. And with these practices, they'll be able to grow more because this is kind of like a training camp for them because they never really got to truly gel
practice together. Right.
Yeah, practice together. This is a chance for this team to come together, practice together, practice it in the games here because realistically their seeding isn't too big of a deal, and then it'll just move on into the playoffs. So it's a nice little practice here, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and I hope Brett Brown even says look, even sits him down in the locker room and just says, look, Ben, this is your role. Joe, this is your role. Jay Rich, this is your role. Tobias, here's your role. So I hope he does that. And if he does that and he kind of takes over and says, this is what you guys are all going to do. If you have a problem with it, I'll bench you. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's very authoritarian, but we got to win. This lineup was built for the playoffs, as Daryl said again. But this lineup looks great on paper. So to not even win at all would be just devastating for me.
Well, yeah, it's another thing because as this team is built, while they struggle in the offensive aspect of the game, their defense was there all year long. It's been a top defensive team this whole season. So when it comes to games like this, that's why even the road games that they lost, they were all very close games. I mean, one that sticks out to me was the Miami game versus Jimmy Butler, the game in Miami where they blew it at the end there, but it was a close game. Their defense kept them in it. Road games that they lost, they were in the game still because of their defense. So it was more the offense down the stretch, and I think that takes time to gel together to fix. So realistically, that defense of theirs will help them in the playoffs, especially in a situation like this, because every game's a road game for everybody. Kinda. It's not a home game. It's not a road game. So like
Right.
every game, each team's going into it without an advantage. So I think that defense definitely gives them a boost because it's one of the best in basketball.
Mhm. That Miami game was the most frustrating game of the season. I'll
Oh
be
yeah,
honest with you.
I remember it.
Yeah,
It sticks out.
for those of you that like don't really watch the Sixers as much as Justin and I do, basically what happened was Ben Simmons was at the line. We were down by 2, and basically what happened was Ben Simmons looked like he airballed, but it actually hit the top. But it actually hit the rim. But you had to like
Hmm.
replay it like 70 times to actually see that it hit the rim. And what
Yeah.
Jay Rich does, I believe it was Jay Rich, tips it in with
He
like
tipped it in.
1 second to go, and they had to review it, and we went into OT, and then we just blew the game after that. Tyler Harrow went off, by the way. That was like the proving game for like that was like the game that proved to me that Tyler Harrow was like something special.
I guess you don't watch Miami Heat basketball then because
I,
he
no,
did that
I knew Tyler
consistently
Harrow was
night in,
good.
night out.
I knew Tyler Harrow was good, but I didn't know he was like that good. I was like, holy crap, you know? Like
Yeah, no, he's been doing that all year. So
that's no,
I
I
knew
know,
he was good.
but you know, let us know what you think about the Sixers whole thing. I want to get your thoughts. It's definitely going to be a weird, interesting time, especially for the Sixers because they don't have the Wells Fargo Center. So if there's a way to like just take a big crane or like a big like helicopter, pick up the Wells Fargo Center, take it down to Orlando, and put it into Disney World, that would be sick. And that would make the Sixers go undefeated.
Yep.
Yep. So let us know what you guys think. DM us, comment down below. Next thing we wanted to get into was our start bench cut segment. We do this every episode. Take 3 players, say we would start, who would bench, who would we cut. So the 3 players that we have for today are Derrick Rose of the Detroit Pistons, Spencer Dinwiddie of the Brooklyn Nets, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. By the way, it sounds really weird to say Derrick Rose of the Detroit Pistons. I don't know. To me, that just sounds odd to say.
Hmm.
Doesn't feel right. Ever since he left Chicago, honestly.
Yeah. It's just he's known as such a iconic Bulls player. So it's like Michael Jordan and the Wizards or something like that. Like just a guy that's whenever you think of him, you think of that team and you forget he was on other teams. Just like AI with the Sixers. He didn't play for the Sixers his whole career. He
Yeah,
was on other teams down the stretch. So
it's like Tom Brady with the Bucks. Feels weird,
yep.
and I hate the Patriots. So like that, it's just weird. Off topic, but what do you have? Where do you have the Bucks going this year?
They won't make the playoffs.
You don't think they'll make the playoffs?
Nah, that defense is atrocious. The offensive line's terrible. 0 run game. He's got 2 decent wide receivers, but both the wide receivers are deep threats, and Tom Brady has no arm, and he doesn't have the offensive line to allow him to throw the ball downfield. We saw why Jameis struggled last season. Tom Brady is going to be no different. He's going to struggle behind that line, and with 0 run game, it could end up being ugly. I mean, Tom Brady's good, but he has fallen back to an average quarterback, so.
Yeah, well, that's done. That's with age. But do you think the Patriots? I think the Patriots will make the playoffs.
They'll be right around the 7th seed. I don't know. That defense fell off a bit at the end last year.
Yeah, but
I
like
don't know if Cam Newton will be the quarterback or not. Too many question marks. Still too early.
yeah, I mean with their division, playing the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins, that's
Well, the Bills are going to be good. They'll probably win.
yeah, the
10
Bills will be good. Yeah,
games.
that's true. That's true. Totally unrelated. If you want to hear about football, check out Justin's podcast
Yeah.
with our good friend Jake over at Boiled Up. Justin, I don't want to talk. Why don't you plug it a little bit?
Yeah, we just kind of first take style, talk about all sports. Good debate, just kind of. It's like this, but with all sports, not just basketball. But
Yeah,
it's a good show. It's different.
yeah. Like with me personally, like I can't go in depth with any other sport like I do the NBA.
We go pretty in depth with
Yeah.
just about every sport outside of hockey. We're not big hockey guys, but other than that, we're in depth on all the sports.
Absolutely. So getting back to what we actually plan to talk about, Justin, out of those 3 players that we listed, Derrick Rose, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who would you start, bench, and cut out of those 3?
I would have to start Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and that's like without a doubt. He's clearly the best player on that list, best shooter. best defender, averaging most steals, most blocks, least turnovers. He doesn't turn the ball over much. He's just an all-around better player than those guys. He can do it all. He's a very good player for that Thunder team, and I think he's very underrated, underappreciated by the rest of the NBA. When you look at that Thunder team, most guys will say, oh, it's CP3, oh, it's Steven Adams. No, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's one of the best players on that team. I'd say he's probably the second best player on that team. So, in my opinion, Shai is very good, and I'm very excited to see what he does in the future. I think he's going to be a very good star for this league. And honestly, learning from CP3 at such a young age like that, that's big for him. And I think he will develop into a very, very, very good point guard. Next, it's tough because Dinwiddie's good, Derrick Rose is good, but neither of them are great, and neither of them have the potential to be great anymore. I'd have to go with Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie's doing more statistically. He's putting up better stats. The only issue with him is he's a little less efficient than Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is a little more efficient than he is. But outside of that, he's putting up about the same numbers, slightly better. So I'd have to give it to Dinwiddie. He's averaging more points. He's averaging 20 points per game, so that's very good. They're both good, solid sixth men, but they're not more than that. Like SGA, he's going to be a star in this league. He is a starter, contributor on a good team. These guys are sixth men on a solid team, and on a good team, they'd be sixth men as well. They wouldn't be starters. So if Dinwiddie was there with Kyrie, I don't think he would start on that team. And if Derrick Rose was on a half-decent team outside of Detroit, I think he would be a sixth man as well. So I don't think they are really starters. I'd have to go with Dinwiddie, but not by much. I'd say that's pretty close. SGA is definitely my start out of those two. I'd bench Dinwiddie and cut Rose.
So I agree. Having SGA, I'm not going to say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander every time. SGA being mentored by CP3 is amazing for him, and it will do so much for his career.
Yeah,
but he's not. I'm not sold on him yet. Do I think he'll be good? Do I think he'll be good? Yeah, absolutely. But do I think am I completely sold on him? No, not really.
How are you? What are you not sold on about his game?
He's only been playing 2 years.
So what about his game are you not sold on? He's putting up good numbers everywhere. He doesn't have any bad stats. He's putting up good numbers. He's efficient from the floor. What is there not to like about his game? He's only going to get better.
I don't know. I just think he could, contribute more to that Thunder team.
He's the second best player on that team.
No, he's not.
He certainly is.
He's not. One
clearly haven't watched Thunder basketball.
Number one is CP3. Number two, I watch a lot of Thunder basketball. They're one of my favorite teams this year. Number one is CP3. Number two is Steven Adams.
Steven Adams. Oh my God.
Number two is Steven Adams. Number two is Steven Adams. He's a great defender. He's a great center. Just because he can't shoot the three like these new guys in the league doesn't make him a bad center. I think he's a great center for that Thunder team. He's the second best player on the team.
He's putting up like 13 and 10. How is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's almost scoring 20 points per game, not better than him?
What does 20 points a game have to do with it? Obviously, that's good, but that's not like the X factor for him. That's not the thing that pushes him.
He's their leading scorer on the team.
So
I guess
I don't think I don't think he contributes that much. Like as you think, I don't think he.
The leading scorer on the team doesn't contribute.
So James Harden is the leading scorer on the Rockets, and they still struggle.
What? That means nothing. James Harden contributes to that team.
They've been struggling.
So he's the main contributor to that team. Nobody talks about who cares about struggling.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He's the main contributor. Points per game. If you were scoring the most points in your game, you were a good contributor to that team.
I'm not sold on him yet. I'm sorry. Let me continue my list.
That's idiotic. Okay.
I just don't look. I'm not sold on him yet. I'm sorry.
Okay, keep going.
Me personally, man, I'm gonna start Derrick Rose. I'm gonna bench Dinwiddie, and I'm gonna cut Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because they've actually proven. And I think Derrick Rose, at this point in his career, he could start, but he doesn't because he's either not confident to start enough, even though he should be confident because he's pretty good player, underrated, honestly, in my opinion. And so I think he could start on a team, but he chooses to take that bench role. And you're face palming,
He's
but
just not good.
no, he's
I mean,
great. He's great.
no, he is not.
Yes, he is.
How? Like, what?
Oh
I can't even argue with that. That's so dumb. Like, I just don't understand it.
18-2-6. That's pretty damn good.
18-2-6. How's that better than 19?
Shooting 50% from the field, 87 from free throw. That's from the free throw line. That's
yeah. What's his 3-point percentage? Huh? He can't. He's barely shooting 30% from
31%.
30%.
Not barely shooting 30%. What are you talking
He's shooting 30%. He's good, but like he is not better than those other two guys. No way. Especially not better than SGA. No. I can't even argue that. Move on. Just move on. I can't even.
Well, we want to know your thoughts. Am I crazy? Is Justin crazy? Who knows? I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but like I just haven't been sold, and I don't know about like.
You just argued a leading scorer on a team doesn't contribute, and then you tried to say James Harden doesn't contribute to the Rocket. No, just let's move on. Let's move on. No,
I don't want you to lose sleep over it.
Let's just move on.
I don't want you to lose sleep over it. So
next segment.
Continuing with Spencer Dinwiddie, I like hurt your feelings.
Nah, it's just
it's a hot take. I agree. It's a hot take. It's a hot take. It's a very hot take, but it's my opinion. So speaking of Spencer Dinwiddie, just came out. We did talk about some players getting COVID. I think it was 16 out of 302 players in the league got COVID. Talked about that in our last episode. Like I said, if you haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. It's a good episode. But now, like a day after we recorded that episode, we get news that Spencer Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan got COVID. So they're not going to be. They're not going to be playing in Orlando, right? Or are they still on the fence?
Dinwiddie's on the fence. Jordan said no.
Okay.
But if you saw their messages, they complained that the NBA sent them back to Brooklyn. That's how they got it. They actually had to go back to. They were one of the teams, just like Toronto had headed down early to Orlando. Since New York was so bad, they were supposed to head down to Orlando as well. They weren't supposed to make a stop back in Brooklyn for their own training camp there. They were supposed to do it in Orlando. But because New York's supposed to be better now, they flew back there and they actually got it while they were there. So they were throwing a little shade at the NBA and New York for getting them coronavirus.
Which kind of leads me to believe that Spencer Dinwiddie probably won't play because he's probably
I don't think he will. And there's no point for him in playing because the Nets are terrible, and at best they're going to be knocked out by the Bucks in the first round because they will at least fall to 8.
But even then, they lost Kyrie because he's sitting out. KD's not playing. And now they lost Spencer Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan. So do you think that they're even going to make a move in the playoffs? Because I think here's my thing, and if you don't mind me going first.
Go ahead.
I think if they still had Spencer Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan, I think they still could have made some noise in the playoffs. If you remember last year, they were a solid playoff team. I guess they lost to the Sixers in 5, but they gave the Sixers a run for our money.
That's again when the Sixers were adjusting to their new team and getting chemistry. Still, they struggled with that all year again last year, and they were still adjusting to that. And they had never played in a playoff game with that team before. So they struggled in the beginning, but that Nets team is not very good. They were not very good this year.
Well, not anymore.
Again, they were the 7th seed for a reason. They are not a good basketball team. They shouldn't even be here. I mean, this is what I hate about this setup. I mean, think about this. The Nets are going to be this poor team. I think they may be favored in the one game when they play the Wizards. Other than that, at best they're going 1-7 these 8 games. At best, I mean that's just free wins for their team. Here's what I would have done, right? If I had a choice on how I would have set this up, I would have done kind of more group stages where these teams at the bottom would have had to work their way, play each other, and how they do in those games actually matter. Because this is pointless. Because now we're watching teams play the Nets. Players are going to be resting their stars because they don't care. They're not going to be caring. They'll think they'll win the game without them. So we're not going to be watching Kawhi play the Nets. I mean, I don't know if he plays them, but I mean, for example, if Kawhi played the Nets, he wouldn't be playing in these regular season games. They'd rest him for that game. So it's just like this is what the problem is with this bubble, because if a team's out, it's just not going to look good because the Nets aren't going anywhere. I would assume more players will be backing out on the Nets because there's no point. And
Uh,
honestly, when you're looking at this, when you're looking at the schedules here and you see an easy team, like a lower ranked team, I honestly think that's a harder matchup because some of these top teams, like if you're playing the Bucks in the regular season, why are they playing Giannis more than, I don't know, 5 minutes, 25 minutes per game? Because they shouldn't have to because they already clinched the 1 seed, I believe. So, or they'd have to lose basically every game, and the Raptors or Celtics would have to win out. I don't even know if that's even possible.
I don't
But I
think it
don't think
is.
it would be. I don't think it would be. So, like, I'd rather be playing the Bucks than I would be playing a Pelicans or Spurs, Kings team like that because I think those teams are really going to try to make the playoffs.
Hmm. I mean,
So, like, it's the
honestly,
same
like,
thing with the Nets. Nobody cares to play the Nets. It's an easy win.
yeah, I mean,
Send them
like,
home already.
at this point, their best players, Karis LeVert, Joe
Yeah.
Harris, Torian Prince. So, they're definitely not going to make any moves. I'm not even going to try to defend the Nets. And I like watching the Nets. I will say, they're an underrated team. They were an underrated team at least, but yeah. So I don't think that they're going to make a lot of noise. They're probably not, like you said. Maybe they'll go 2-6. Maybe they'll shock the world and go 2-6. But no, the
It'd be a
Nets aren't.
miracle.
It would be a miracle. But like you might not even think like losing Spencer Dinwiddie is a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. You're
For
losing
them, it is.
that's about 20 points off the board. I'd say 7 assists off the board. So
Yep.
he's a guy that's shooting 42% from the field. You shoot 80%, about 80% from the free throw line. So it's a pretty big deal. And DeAndre Jordan, that's 10 rebounds off the board. So
Mhm.
I think losing them is actually a big blow because I thought going in, okay, so Kyrie and Kevin Durant aren't going to play. Okay, well, the Nets, they still have Spencer Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen. They could make some. They could be a good playoff team. But now that this happened, they probably, let's say like the league started today and you didn't have KD, Kyrie, Spencer Dinwiddie, or DeAndre Jordan, they probably wouldn't even make the playoffs.
Probably not.
Probably not. So yeah, let us know what you think. If you're a Nets fan, I'm sorry. I don't think the Nets don't even have any fans anyway. They have like 20 fans.
I know a couple of Nets fans.
Yeah, are they from New York?
Yeah, a lot of kids from my school went to New York. My one friend there is a Nets fan, so
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, I went to college like in New York, and a lot of people from Brooklyn aren't even Nets fans. They're so like attached to the Knicks already.
yeah, because the Nets just moved there. I mean, it will take time, but eventually you'll see more people moving on to the Nets, especially
Mhm.
with the return of KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Maybe they'll like. I don't know why you wouldn't just be a Nets fan, like, because the Knicks have been torturing you for 20 years, longer than that. So I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. So yeah, next thing we wanted to get into was about Mr. Fine Wine himself, LeBron Raymond James. In my mind, the GOAT. In Justin's mind, not really. We're not. That's a whole nother discussion.
Not yet.
Whole nother discussion. It's the 10-year anniversary of the decision and the 2-year anniversary of LeBron going to LA. We already know the story about LeBron's decision. Went 10
Yeah,
years.
that was a terrible move by him.
In what way?
How he set that up.
Well, all the viewership money that he got from that, he donated
He
it to
donated. Oh, I
charity.
know. But he handled that situation so poorly. Like he just assumed the fans of Cleveland would like forgive him. He didn't think about that. And LeBron's a guy that like put it this way. You look back on the decision now, like I've rewatched it and saw it. It's crazy to see how young LeBron acted because LeBron acts totally different now. Like if you watch, he was so nervous, he was sitting up straight,
He
he
wouldn't have done that
barely could
today.
talk. No, he would have done that today. He would, but he would have done that in a such better matter. He handled it so poorly, and you can tell that how he's grown as a human being from back then to today. You can really tell the difference in how he handles public speaking, how he thinks every PR move through. He doesn't just make decisions like that because, like, when he knew that he was going to kind of hold a decision like that, and it wasn't going to be Cleveland. He just assumed the Cleveland fans would be happy with him and wouldn't care. And then they saw him burning his jerseys in the streets. He got upset about that. He didn't know what to think, and he didn't even show any sign of respect for the fans of Cleveland. He just said he's taking his talents to South Beach. So I mean, he didn't he could have at least thanked them or something. He didn't do any of that.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of irrelevant at this point because he came back. But
No,
yeah,
but
at the time, yeah,
at the time when you look back on it, it was such a poorly thought out. You can tell how much he's grown from then. You can tell he's such a young guy at the time, but he didn't think it through. He didn't think through all the aspects of it.
Well, I mean, he was only 25 at the time that he made that decision too. So.
Oh yeah.
So, obviously, but so yeah, that was crazy. I loved that Miami team. That was an amazing team. I think the 2013 Miami Heat are one of the greatest teams of all time. I think they're up there. I think they're up there with obviously they're not as good, but they're up there with the 72-10 Bulls, things like that.
No,
absolutely,
no,
absolutely.
No
they were so dominant that year. Oh my God, they were amazing.
No.
That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, they win 72 games. I don't think so.
Whatever. Don't mean a thing without the ring. They got a ring.
Yeah, but you're saying they were up there with them. Clearly, they didn't win 72 games, so they're not up there with them.
No, I said they're a top 10 team of all time, a top 10 all-time team.
You never said that. You said they're right there with the 72-10 Bulls.
No, I said they're not close to the.
No.
Maybe I misworded. No, maybe I'm maybe I'm.
I know what you're saying now, but you didn't say that the first time. That's not what you said. Well, so I agree with you, but that's just not what you said the first time.
Well, I'm an idiot, so. It is the 2-year anniversary of LeBron going to LA. So, from what's happened when he was a Laker, you had that 1 year where he injured himself, had to sit out for most of the season. Now you have this year. Justin, right now at this point, has LeBron's been successful in LA, or has it been a bust so far?
It's been a failure. It's been a bust, obviously, so far. I mean, that can change with a ring this year, but as of now, you went. Well, I don't forget how many finals appearances he was in consecutively. I don't know the number off the top of my head. You probably know. You're Brownsexual. How many was it?
I hate when you say that, but he went to 7 straight finals.
Yeah, whatever it was, he broke that streak, and so that doesn't look good on his time in LA. He didn't make it last year. He was hurt. He hasn't played. He played well this year, but I mean, he hasn't played well. He hasn't played up to his standards, and his team hasn't played. When you see LeBron on a team, you expect them to be the top 2 seed every year and making a trip to the you already booked them in the finals, and we haven't been able to book them in the finals yet. So this may be a second year in a row in LA where he hasn't made the finals after making it 8 straight years. So I mean, just looking at that, there's no way you can say it's been successful yet because he hasn't made a finals appearance. Until he makes a finals appearance, it won't be considered successful.
Right, and I think that I think it's been successful, but not up to the standards that.
Successful. They didn't even make the playoffs last year.
But that's because he was injured. All right, that really doesn't count. But this year they were just tremendous, and they were the best team in basketball. So
that makes it a bust. If you're a draft pick and you get injured, doesn't that make you a bust? That you're not successful, you're a bust.
But not by design, by accident.
It doesn't matter. The question is it successful or a bust? It's a bust because he hasn't won.
It's been successful.
It doesn't matter what happens. He was unsuccessful.
Let us know what you guys think. Have you guys been happy
Greg Oden's a bust.
Greg Oden's a bust, yeah, but
and it's because of injuries.
But when I say
so, if LeBron gets hurt, it doesn't make it successful or nothing because it was hurt. It was a bust. He got hurt.
But that just shows the impact that LeBron has when he's not playing with that Lakers team. They missed the playoff. I mean, you saw this with the Miami Heat.
He still played a decent amount of time, and then we saw what he needed. Anthony Davis. I haven't seen anything about.
No.
I haven't seen LeBron on his own before he left for the Miami Heat.
That's not true. You know he.
It is true.
You know he leads that team. You know he leads that team. You know he leads every team that he's on.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying this is bad, but when's the last time I saw LeBron on his own carrying a team successfully? I haven't seen that since whenever he made the decision. 2010. I haven't seen him.
That's ridiculous.
I haven't seen him. I'm just this isn't a knock on him or anything, but I'm just saying he hasn't led a team by himself. Like, he had his opportunity last year to lead a team on his own in LA. He didn't have another superstar there
No,
with him.
people like you would have made an excuse saying, "Well, Lonzo Ball bailed him out."
No, there's no.
JaVale McGee
He
bailed
he
him out.
he was the star on the lone star on that team last year, and he couldn't take whether it was injuries or not. He couldn't take him to the playoffs. Like, that's not a knock on him, but he wasn't able to do it. Whether he was healthy or not, he wasn't able to do it. Since 2009, I haven't seen him make the playoffs on the team by himself.
Let us know what you think. That's ridiculous. I mean, like, he's like the number one guy on the team. I mean, like, and people would have made.
When's the last time he didn't have an all-star on his team with him?
So
there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, if he wants to cement his GOAT status, like, above everyone else, he never won by himself. Like,
well, Jordan, neither did Jordan.
I didn't say that, but I said to cement himself above Jordan. He hasn't won on his own.
But Jordan never
to put him above Jordan without a doubt. He's never won on his own. Last year, if he would have taken that Lakers team and won the finals with it, that would have been something he could have said he did without LeBron. Like, that's something MJ never did. Like, that's something he could have said, and it would have been on his resume. That could have helped him put himself above MJ, but he didn't do that.
Wasn't LeBron the lone star in 2007? Jordan never made the finals on his own.
Yeah, he also went. We already discussed that. It was through the incredibly weak East. He wouldn't have even made it out of the second round in the West.
To be 21 years old and lead a team to the finals on your own?
It was a different NBA back then. It was a defensive game. It was we discussed. We're not talking about that right now. We already talked about that.
We'll move on. It's a whole other discussion for another day. The GOAT conversation. We did already discuss it
for another day. We discussed it. And
we did discuss
in that debate.
No, I killed you in that debate. Let's be honest here.
Even the comments said I won. So
what comments?
The comments under the post you made for it.
Whatever. Let us know what you think below. But we wanted to get into next thing we wanted to get into was the Suns. Justin, you read a lot of it more about this than I did, but
yes,
this whole Josh Jackson. I know it briefly, but what can you fill me in?
Yeah, so I mean, Josh Jackson had a fan comment on his Instagram. He left a comment saying how he's so unsuccessful. He's not a good basketball player, and he's just not very good. He's unproductive, and that he was just bad with Phoenix and that they should have taken De'Aaron Fox instead. And he said, he responded back to the fan and said, your entire organization is unproductive. Stop blaming 20-year-old kids for 15 years of sucking. So, I mean, pretty good. I respect Josh Jackson for saying that, because I think people put too much pressure on these kids coming out of the draft and coming out just to expect them to perform at a high level. But if you don't have the coaching, you don't have the front office set up to put them in a position to win, or put them in a position to be successful, they're not going to have success. You can't just expect the player to do it on his own. You're supposed to be putting them in a good position. You have to build a team around them, and they just never had a chance. Look at Josh Jackson. What killed him was, what hurt for me was he was finally putting up good numbers. Before this break, he had 5 straight games of 16-plus points for the first time in his career. So he was just finally starting to get his stride here right before the break. So I was really impressed with that. I'm liking the way he's developed his game more. He's becoming a better player. So I'm really happy for him, because he's been labeled a bust for a while. And to see how he's worked his way back into the league like this, I'm really happy for him. I'm glad he's taking shots back at the organization, because I think the Suns are a terribly run franchise. So I really respect Josh Jackson for doing that. I know it may not be a popular thing, but I mean, I respect him for doing that, because he was getting unnecessary hate. Because while he was a bust and didn't perform up to the expectations that was given when he was drafted, he still has a chance to become a good performer in the NBA. So I wouldn't label him a bust yet. I was really liking what I saw out of him before the break here. So I'm excited to see what he'll do in the playoffs here, because I think if he can continue that, he could develop into a nice player. Not a superstar, but he could be a good player.
I don't think
third
he'll be a
option for a
superstar.
team. No. He won't be a superstar. Like, I believe he was drafted 4th, right? 4th in the draft, I think it was.
4th or 5th, I think. He was the 5th.
I think it was 4th.
I don't know.
He was picked right before Fox. I know that. But anyway, that's irrelevant. But I
Yeah,
mean,
well, five. Yeah, you're
I
right.
respect
You're
him
right
for doing that.
Because Fox was 5, and
Fox was 5, so I know.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was 4.
Okay, yeah. So I think you're right.
But yeah, I respect him for doing that.
Yeah, and like you said, I completely agree. Think about it. Josh Jackson is like only a couple years older than us. So to say, like, for a Suns fan to say, you got to be good, you got to win us a chip, you got to make us have us go on a playoff run with such an inexperienced team is ridiculous. And you're just angry because the Suns have always sucked. I mean, they've sucked since the Charles Barkley days.
They've always been bad.
They've always been terrible
Since then.
So for you to blame Josh Jackson, it's honestly ridiculous. Just, you're just, I don't know if he's jealous. I don't know if Suns fans are just butthurt. And honestly, but they have every right to be. I mean, their ownership is terrible. In my opinion, I think they've done a terrible job building around Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker should get as far away from Phoenix as possible if they don't build around him.
See, that's where I disagree. I think he should stay. I mean, I really like new Suns coach Monty Williams. I think he's a very good coach. And I think each year this team is starting to improve. I think if you can get I think they need one more piece with Ayton developing. Ayton missed a bunch of games earlier in the year. So, I mean, with him back and playing a full year with Booker, and if you can add a third decent player in there, I really like that. Who knows? 2021, Giannis is a free agent. Maybe make a big three of Giannis, Booker, and Ayton. You never know.
They got to throw him some money.
There's other players out there that are going to be free agents too, but I think he should wait and kind of develop. I really like Monty Williams. I think he could develop his game even further. They have Ayton. I think he should not get traded.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe Devin Booker could go tell the GM. I don't know who the Suns GM off the top of my head is. I don't really care to follow the Suns right now. I don't think you can blame me for that. But I think you should go there and say, look, you should kind of do like what the GM does. You know, when LeBron is actually the GM?
Mm-hmm.
Devin Booker should be like, look, and this is like, I know it's like authoritarian to say, and it's not really, it's not very like good to say, but you should go in and just say, look, you either build around me and DeAndre Ayton, or I'm out of here. I'm going to request a trade. I'm not going to request a trade. I'm going to demand a trade. And that's why I say that Devin Booker should get the hell away from Phoenix, because I don't think the Suns are going to build around him. I just don't see it.
Too early to tell. I wouldn't say that. I think about it, you don't need to perform at a high level right away. Like, you don't need to be winning games necessarily. Like, it's rare. Think about how long it took like LeBron to win a championship. Jordan didn't win a championship right away. None of these GOATs really won championships right away. So, like, I don't expect Booker to be winning games. I think it takes some time to develop that. You got to learn the system. You got to take a couple falls before he can get up to the championship level. Like, he's got to learn more. And I think as he develops his game, he can kind of become that. Because I don't think he is a star on a team good enough to lead a team by himself. He needs another guy there. So if Ayton can develop into a solid player, if they can get one more piece there, they got nice surrounding pieces. Kelly Oubre Jr., Michael Bridges from Nova.
Yeah.
You got Ricky Rubio. So you got your pieces there. They have a solid team. If they can stay healthy, they can develop a little more, add another piece. I think that Suns team could be a good team next year.
Totally lost my train of thought. I totally forgot what I was going to ask you. Do you think? Well, I mean, what I was going to say. Yeah, I remember. That's how it is in today's league. I don't think today in today's league, one player, one all-star could lead a team to the playoffs. I think it's got to be. You got to have like at least 2 players. You know what I mean?
Yep. Agreed.
Luka Doncic had a tremendous rookie season, and he was up there. But he needed Kristaps Porzingis to come in. Mm-hmm. So if they give DeAndre Ayton the ball, and if they put more pieces around Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, I think the Suns are built to go on a nice playoff run.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So let us know what you guys think about the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns fans, take it easy. All right, it's not Josh Jackson's fault that you guys suck.
Exactly.
Blame your owner. Your owner's terrible. I mean, they have one of the worst owners in basketball.
Well, they screwed them over since the Steve Nash days when they traded away all their players to sign people, and then they forgot
Absolutely.
that Phoenix is not a free agent destination that people want to go to. So
Exactly. And that
they had
Phoenix
all the
Suns
salary cap and never signed anybody.
and that Suns team back in the mid 2000s, they should have at least had a finals appearance. They should have at least won a ring. No, and I'm not even going to say that. Having Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire in their prime, Sean Marion, Leandro Barbosa,
Well,
Quentin Richardson.
what happened with that team was they had no defense. D'Antoni was too stubborn to hire Tom Thibodeau as
Mike
the
Antony, no D.
yeah. Yeah, he was too stubborn to hire him as his like almost defensive coordinator there to kind of run the defense for the team, and he's too offensive minded, so he didn't hire Thibodeau and lacked the defensive concept on the end there, so they didn't
Right.
play well, very good defense, and that kind of hurt them. That's why they never won anything.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, let us know what you think. We hit way over an hour, I'm pretty sure. So great episode, a lot of good discussions. Again, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. This is just the beginning. We really appreciate it. Big stuff coming. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every upload. We appreciate that. By the time this is uploaded, it'll be Friday. So have a good 4th of July weekend. Stay safe. Make sure you social distance if you're going, if you're going to celebrate 4th of July. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one. Peace.